I'm now so thrilled to introduce to you two of our MBA students who've dedicated their entire careers to solving long and hard, challenging global development problems. Please welcome Nick Andreou and Kanika Kumar.
A decade. That's pretty much all we've got left until irreversible climate change. 360 times. That is what your average CEO makes compared to the average worker in the same firm. In 1950s, that ratio was 20 times, and today it's 360 times. 40 million. That is the number of slaves in the modern workforce, which, by the way, is way more than 150 years ago when we abolished slavery. So the world is in a bad way. And look, this is really simple. We just have to do better. The problems are getting too big, and we are running too short on time to keep the status quo. And so, if we're going to fix this, we should probably think a little bit about how we got here in the first place. And look, with problems this big, everyone has played a role. But there is one group that has had a huge impact on the way the world is today, and that is business. And this is kind of obvious when you look at the number of crises that we've had. Enron and fraud, BP and oil spills, big banks and financial crises, Facebook and privacy. The list goes on and on and on. And let me just give you a personal story to color what this looks like a little bit. So there I was at the ripe old age of 21 doing an internship at the UN. And at the top of the stairs was a big poster, a campaign for making clean water a fundamental human right. And I thought this was a great idea. Such a great idea, I didn't understand why we needed a campaign. So I went to go talk to the people who were organizing this. And one of them asked me, "What do you know about how the UN works?" "Not much," I said. "It's my first week." And she explained that the US has a lot of influence in how the UN makes decisions. And corporates in the US have a lot of influence over how the US makes decisions. And two corporates in particular, best known for canned, sweet, fizzy drinks, they make a lot of money selling bottled water in emerging markets. And they would find it very difficult to make the same amount of money if clean water was a fundamental human right. Wow! What we're suggesting is that corporates are directly influencing the human rights agenda of the United Nations to maximize profits. I was not expecting that in week one. And so, business has let us down. But if they've played a big role in getting us here, there's an even bigger role to be played in moving forward. And so let's talk about the solutions. Because my main message to you today is that we all have a role to play in these solutions, whatever they might be. And so where do we start? Here's an idea. An old professor of mine used to say, humans, people, we need oxygen to survive. But to say that to breathe is therefore our purpose in life, I mean, that's ridiculous. And so yes, of course, businesses need profits in order to survive. But to suggest that that is therefore their purpose is equally misguided. So maybe what we need to do is come up with a new purpose for business. And that's why I'm very excited to be here today and to learn more about economics of mutuality, because it provides a new way of thinking about these issues. Traditionally, the purpose for business was to maximize profits. And issues of people and planet was this thing over here called sustainability. Well, under economics of mutuality, the purpose of business is people and planet. And sustainability is a question around how much profit do we really need to make to add value here. And so we have these ideas that can move us forward. But ideas are not enough. What we need are people who believe in those ideas, who are willing to fight for those ideas, and who are determined to see them turned into action. And so let me end with a call to action, because that bit's important, and that's where we come in. A few years ago, I was finishing up my thesis, and a few corporates reached out to me for consultancy work. Now, I was a poor PhD student, and so of course I said yes. And one of these projects found me in the Middle East, working for an alcoholics distributor trying to increase market share. Middle East, alcohol, market share. Not exactly your most responsible or purposeful project. And so I woke up one night in a panic that I needed to do something more meaningful with my life. And so I grabbed my laptop and I started Googling. One search, another search, another search, nothing. And then I did something that no one ever does, because I was so desperate. I scrolled to the bottom of the page, where it says page 1 of whatever, and I clicked the arrow to go to page 2. And again to page 3, and again to page 4. I mean, how desperate do you have to be to get to page 4 of Google? But that's what I found, what I was looking for. And I spent the next 3.5 years working in East Africa, helping people in poverty to start a business as a way of generating an income for themselves. So what am I trying to say? We are all searching for the next steps, and we are all on Google. But how does Google work? It's an algorithm that gives us what it thinks we want to see, based on what is viewed most, what is clicked on the most. Essentially, it's regurgitating the status quo back to us. So on page 1 of Google, you get the banks, the consultancies, big business, the people who maintain the status quo. And I get it. That's where society tells us success is. Those are the safe options. That's where the biggest paychecks are. But if we really want to create change, we have to leave behind page 1 and go and look at page 4, because that's where the people who think differently are. And if enough of us get it to page 4, that will eventually become the new page 1, and we will have established a new status quo. Now, is any of this easy? No. This is going to hurt. We may have to carry some scars. We would have to take smaller paychecks, work in less luxurious offices, take fewer selfies with famous people. But is this necessary? Absolutely. And if you're thinking, this battle between status quo and a new way of doing things, this is too big, I don't even know where to start. Well, it starts from a simple choice. Which side are you on? And if we can take that message to heart and make a simple decision today, who knows? What started here as a sharing of ideas and perhaps a brave choice may indeed end up changing the world. Thank you.